Humanity had always been underestimated. From the earliest days when explorers looked up at the stars and dreamed of leaving their blue planet, alien civilizations dismissed them as primitive, fragile, and short-sighted. Yet over the centuries, humans grew. They learned, they adapted, and they persevered. What the Galactic Council did not know was that humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, fighters, and above all, united in ways no other species could understand. The first warning came quietly. A fleet of alien ships appeared at the edge of the Sol system. They hovered, silent and imposing, their hulls gleaming like obsidian mirrors in the sunlight. Earth's leaders were called into emergency meetings. Scientists, generals, and diplomats crowded around vast holographic displays. The Council's message was clear and chilling. Cease your expansion immediately or face consequences. President Elena Marati of Earth sat in her chair, her fingers steepled as she listened. Consequences? She repeated, her voice calm but firm. Do they think we will simply bow down because they are afraid of our growth? Her chief of staff, a wiry man named Rajan, shook his head. They have numbers. Technology beyond our comprehension. If we refuse, it could be the end of humanity. Elena looked out the viewport at the alien fleet. They were massive, elegant, and deadly. But she felt no fear. Instead, there was resolve. Then we do not refuse. We prepare, and we show them exactly what humanity can do. Across the world, humanity mobilized. Cities once quiet at night now buzzed with activity. Factories worked day and night, producing spacecraft, weapons, and essential supplies. Engineers and scientists collaborated in ways that transcended borders and ideologies. Nations that had once been rivals now shared resources and technology freely. Humanity had faced crises before, plagues, wars, natural disasters, and each time they had survived. The coming conflict would be no different. As the first alien ships moved closer to Mars, Earth's new defense fleet, a patchwork of retrofitted cargo ships, sleek new fighters, and AI-guided cruisers, formed a protective cordon around the inner planets. Humans had learned from every battle recorded in galactic history. They knew that courage alone was not enough. They needed strategy, innovation, and the will to endure. Captain Lyra Zhao stood on the bridge of the starship Horizon. Her crew moved with precision, each action a rehearsed dance of survival. Sensors report alien formations ahead, she said. They are expecting fear. Let's give them something else. Her first officer, a tall man named Theo, glanced at the holographic display. They've underestimated us at every turn. This will be no different. I say we use the asteroid field as cover. Force them to fight on our terms, Lyra nodded. Prepare all ships for evasive maneuvers. Let them come. When the aliens attacked, it was not with the blaring of sirens or the shaking of explosions. Their ships moved with deadly precision, lasers slicing through the void. But humans had prepared. Horizon and the rest of the fleet weaved between asteroids, using the debris to mask their movements. Decoys were launched, forcing alien ships to waste firepower. Mines detonated in perfect timing, disabling several capital ships. The aliens had expected a quick victory. They had assumed that humanity would be easy prey, scattered and uncoordinated. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that adapted faster than they could predict. A species whose creativity in battle seemed almost limitless. Back on Earth, people watched the war unfold through secure communication networks. There was tension, yes, but also a sense of pride. Humanity was standing up to the Galactic Council, and they were holding their ground. Children and adults alike followed news feeds, not with fear, but with admiration for the soldiers and scientists fighting on the front lines. The Council, in their grand chambers, were growing frustrated. No single tactic, no single fleet could break the humans' line. Each defeat seemed to provoke an even more clever response. The humans were not just reacting, they were anticipating. The aliens began to whisper among themselves. Maybe humanity was not the weak species they had assumed. Meanwhile, humanity's leaders on Earth worked tirelessly. Diplomatic channels remained open, even in the midst of battle. They sent messages not to beg for peace, but to assert their stance. Humanity would survive. Humanity would thrive, and humanity would not be cowed by threats. On the front lines, Captain Zhao coordinated a daring maneuver. A small squadron of fighters, led by Lieutenant Arik Valen, executed a daring raid behind enemy lines. Using cloaking technology in the terrain of an asteroid belt, they infiltrated an alien supply station and disabled it completely. The move was risky. If discovered, the squadron would be destroyed, but the payoff was immense. Supply ships exploded in a controlled detonation, crippling the alien fleet's operations in that sector. When the news reached Earth, the reaction was electric. Engineers celebrated breakthroughs that had made the mission possible. Pilots and soldiers felt vindicated. Humanity had proven that they could not only fight but strike with precision, turning disadvantages into advantages. Yet the war was not just fought in the void of space. Humans demonstrated resilience on all fronts. Planets under threat were fortified quickly, colonies strengthened, and evacuation routes planned meticulously. Humanity did not panic, and that calm determination unnerved the aliens further. Every human action was deliberate, calculated, and united. The Council, watching their fleets falter, called an emergency session. Some proposed retreat, others demanded more aggressive tactics. But the humans had already forced the Council to reconsider everything they thought they knew about war. Intelligence reports began to focus less on human weakness and more on human unpredictability. Humanity had become a force the Council could not easily dismiss. In the midst of battle, Lyra Zhao received a transmission from Earth. President Maradi's face appeared on the screen, her expression calm but stern. "Captain Zhao, you are doing humanity proud. Remember, we fight not just for survival but for the right to exist on our terms. Keep our people safe. Keep our spirit alive." Lyra's hands clenched the railing of the bridge. "We will, Madam President. Humanity will not falter." The story of the human fleet became a legend almost immediately. Each engagement, each clever maneuver, and each small victory told the Council something important. Humans were not just another species. They were determined, intelligent, and united in a way the galaxy had never seen. They were fighters, yes, but more importantly, they were survivors, thinkers, and innovators. As the first major battle ended, the aliens retreated, but it was not a defeat. It was a pause, a moment to rethink their assumptions. Humans, meanwhile, regrouped and repaired their ships, already planning their next moves. They celebrated quietly, knowing that the real test had only just begun. On Earth, the people felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity was no longer just a small species on a small planet. They were a rising power in the galaxy, one that could not be ignored or subdued. The war had declared humanity's strength, but it had also shown the unity and spirit that made humans different from every other species in the galaxy. And as the stars stretched endlessly across the void, humans looked outward, not with fear but with determination. They would fight. They would adapt. They would survive. And one day they would not only defend their place in the galaxy, they would shape it. The Galactic Council may have started the war, believing they could control or destroy humanity. But they had underestimated the most important truth. Humans, once pushed to the edge, did not break. They burned brighter than any star, cleverer than any tactic, and stronger than any expectation. Humanity was here to stay, and the galaxy would never be the same again.